She walked into the bank with a quiet confidence, clutching a folder that had taken her weeks to prepare. Her clothes were simple but clean, her hair tied back neatly, and her eyes held the hope of finally solving a problem that had been weighing her down for months. She approached the counter politely, waiting her turn. But as soon as the teller glanced at her appearance, her expression shifted: annoyance, impatience, almost disgust. "You again," the teller muttered, loud enough for others to hear. And for a moment, the woman felt smaller than she ever had before. She tried to explain that she only needed to access her account, the one her husband had told her was jointly under her name. But the teller didn't bother to check. Instead, she waved her away like an inconvenience. The manager overheard the conversation and stepped in, not to help, but to judge. He questioned her identity, doubted her documents, and smirked when she grew flustered. The line behind her laughed under their breath. Someone whispered, "People like her come here just to make trouble." And her heart sank. Her husband had told her he'd meet her there, but he was running late. She kept glancing at the door, hoping he'd walk in and handle everything. But minutes felt like hours, and the humiliation kept building. When she calmly insisted they check the system again, the manager snapped. "Don't waste our time. If you can't even dress properly, why would you have an account here?" he barked. People stared. Some shook their heads. And then, unbelievably, he ordered security to escort her out of the bank. Tears burned her eyes as the guards approached. She wasn't a dramatic woman, never had been, but being dragged out like a criminal shattered something deep inside her. She clutched her folder tightly, trying to explain again, but no one listened. They pushed her toward the entrance as if she was dirtying the floor by standing on it. Her voice trembled when she asked, "Please, just call my husband. He's on his way." The manager rolled his eyes. "Sure he is," he said mockingly. And then the doors opened. A man in a perfectly tailored suit walked in, breathing slightly heavy as if he had rushed. His presence alone made the room quiet, not because he looked rich, but because he looked important. His eyes scanned the lobby and froze when he saw his wife being pushed by guards, her face red with shame. Something inside him cracked. In that moment, he didn't look like a billionaire. He looked like a man whose entire world was being mishandled in front of strangers. "Remove your hands from my wife," he said, his voice dangerously calm. The guards froze instantly. The manager hurried over, suddenly all smiles, stuttering apologies. But the husband wasn't listening. He stepped between his wife and the rest of the room, shielding her with his body like she was the only person who mattered. She tried to explain what happened, but he gently touched her arm. "I saw everything," he whispered. And in his eyes, she saw something she hadn't seen in years, rage mixed with heartbreak. He turned toward the staff, his expression turning cold. "My wife came here to access funds from our joint account. The account you refused to look up." The manager paled. The husband continued, "The account," he emphasized, "that has more money in it than this entire building is worth." Gasps scattered across the lobby. Conversations stopped. Phones lowered. Silence swallowed the room. But he wasn't done. He walked to the counter, typed a few codes into the system, and the screen flashed with a name the staff had never expected to see: the official owner and majority shareholder of the entire banking chain. The realization hit them like an earthquake. The manager stumbled backward, the teller's face drained of color, the guards lowered their heads in shame. But the husband didn't shout. He didn't threaten. Instead, he did something that stunned everyone. He asked his wife what she wanted to do. She looked around at the people who had mocked her, doubted her, and tossed her aside. She could have demanded they all be fired on the spot. She could have humiliated them the way they humiliated her. But she simply said, in a trembling voice, "I just want respect, the same respect you give anyone else." Her words silenced the room more deeply than any punishment could. The husband nodded. "Then that's what she'll get." And right there, in front of everyone, he placed her hand in his and said, "From this moment on, every employee in every branch answers to her. Not me. Her." The manager nearly collapsed. The teller covered her mouth. The customers stared as the simple woman they had mocked became the highest authority in the building. But she didn't smirk. She didn't gloat. She simply stood a little taller, holding the hand of the men who loved her enough to change everything in her name. As they walked out together, the staff bowing and apologizing behind them, her husband whispered, "I'm sorry I was late. I'll never let anyone treat you like that again." And for the first time that day, she smiled. Because the humiliation hadn't broken her, it had revealed her strength. And it had reminded her husband of something priceless, that no matter how wealthy he became, the greatest honor of his life was loving a woman who remained humble, kind, and brave, even in the face of cruelty. And that moment, that realization, changed his life forever.